to Two Mics All Sports. I'm your host Zach Chavy. Joe Broll is out today. He's out for tonight. So I'm joined by a special guest. You guys remember him from yesterday. What's going on, Kenny?
Not too happy. Gotta be honest, not too happy.
Yeah, me too, man. So let's just get right off with it. Obviously, Saturday yesterday. Obviously, the past 2 days have been tough, but it all started yesterday on Saturday with the Phillies Game One matchup versus the Dodgers. Obviously, you were there, so I want you to go first and just give your whole perspective on the game and how everything occurred.
Yeah, so I actually got pretty blessed with some seats. Um, an old friend of me and my dad's actually got in contact with us and actually gave us some pretty good seats. So we were in row 9, right in right field, section 103, and started off great. I mean, the crowd showed up. It was electric. It was definitely the loudest atmosphere I've been in my life. I was on the verge of tears, like seriously, before we got underway there, and I mean, the scenes there it's always a great time, win or lose, especially. Just I'm blessed to be in that atmosphere in that vicinity during that time. So no complaints about that. No complaints about the crowd. You know how it was. We jumped out 3-0 lead, second inning, and then the bats just ice cold there on out. I mean, it's the same old stuff every single year. Like, I just feel like it's either the bats go cold, make a bad decision, pitching's not there, bullpen's not there. It's always something. If something's clicking, the other thing's not. So it's kind of a result of putting the same product out there time and time again and just hoping for something different. Usually that doesn't work. I mean, it's game one, right? Maybe not jump ahead of ourselves, but I think it was a statistic like 70 something percent of the time in a best of 5 series, the team who wins game one usually takes the series. So it's pretty heartbreaking, to be honest with you. Obviously, we want to jump out and get that game, and it's hard to point the finger here besides to the whole team. I'm usually a guy who likes to put the blame on Rob. I mean, I'm not happy with the past couple of years with him, and this one doesn't really feel like we can do that. I mean, like I said, the bats just go cold, and it's the product you get for putting the same team out there and hoping for a different result time and time again. That's
Yeah,
what happens.
I mean, I
So,
go ahead. Say what you're saying.
yeah, I'm just saying. So that's how I'm feeling. Like, a little upset, man. I gotta be honest. We got it. Tomorrow's a must win.
Yeah, I agree. Sanchez, no, I don't even care. He gave up those 2 runs. It was bound to happen. And that one decision I will give Rob because that's 50-50. You don't leave him in there, then the bullpen comes in and blows it up. But if you do leave him in there, like that happens, that I'm not putting on him because any all the scenarios could have happened there. But
Sanchez was. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Sanchez was. He was done. He was tired. I mean, it sucks, right? He was down to his last out. He could have given us 6 innings. I think if he gets that out there in the 6th inning, it's a different game. It really is a different game. I think we might win that game if he can get that last out there. But it happens, man.
yeah, and what I want to talk about is I was feeling great after the bottom of the second inning because it was the middle to bottom of the lineup that produced. I gave them the benefit of the doubt the first inning because it's jitters between Schwarber, Turner, and Harper. I was like, all right, Otani's juiced. He's ready to, and he just threw strike after strike. But then second inning, it was the second inning, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
second inning.
second inning, they come in firing. You got Bohm and Marsh both getting on base, and then JT Realmuto with a huge hit to get the crowd into a frenzy. He got a triple. They were up 2-0, and then Bader finished it off with a sac fly. And then after that, it was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. Like Otani locked in completely. The pressure did not get to him whatsoever. And it kind of helped that our offense, especially the top three, the guy I'm looking at the most is Kyle Schwarber. I understand you put your team on this back the entire year, but 0 for 4, and you look silly at the plate. Honestly, the way he was swinging at pitches, he had so many opportunities. Literally, the inning before Sanchez gave up those 2 runs, he had 2 runners on base. 3-run jack that knocks it out of the park puts this game out of question. This game's over if he hits it out of the park. Even if maybe if he gets both runs home or 1 run home, we're feeling so much better off 4, and we have something to build off to the next inning, and Sanchez feels even better. But then Schwarber strikes out, and then everything takes a downhill. And the Dodgers knew exactly what they were doing. Dave Roberts has been able to stay as that manager for so long because he makes great decisions. He knows his bullpen is god awful, so he throws out Tyler Glasnow because Otani gave him 7 great innings. Throws Glasnow out, and then puts in Sasaki in the ninth to close it out. He was pulling all the right buttons, and it was perfect. And we talked about this after I interviewed you. What were the two players I said that were going to be huge X factors for the Dodgers offense? I said Tommy Edman and the guy who got them the three-run game-winning home run in Teoscar Hernandez. And worst of all, I've seen this all over all day. They knew what Matt Strom was exactly doing. Andy Pajes on second base was relaying the information to him. How stupid of a retard do you have to be to fucking tip your pitches? Strom did this shit last year. He was an all-star last year, terrible in the postseason. He was great in the regular season, terrible in the postseason as of right now. And Robertson shouldn't have stayed in. The only person, and then I know we talk about him a lot, Orion Kerkering, he was not in a pressure situation, so I'm not really surprised he pitched that way. And then Johan Duran, I think it's stupid that they did his whole music and fire. Like, you're down freaking two runs, like, and he doesn't give anything up. But the offense, the inability of the top three lineup, I will say this. We talked about this. I'm going to give Turner a break. This is his first game back. I want to see him at least look better tomorrow because I need at least one or two hits out of him. But Harper, I don't even care if he got that one hit at the end of the game. It's still unexcusable. I know we talked about this too. Like, he's not the face of this team anymore. He's kind of lost that because he's not been able to produce. He's also been hurt, so that's tough. But whenever he's there healthy, he doesn't seem to correlate and be that leader and star player of the team. He doesn't even seem like he wants to take that role. So
that's so I want to go back a little bit to what you said about Dave Roberts. I mean, that saying he makes great decisions. I gotta tell you, I do disagree with that just a bit. I mean, I think really with that team, when it comes down to it, I feel like anybody can win with this team, bro. With the Dodgers team, and there's been some moves that Roberts has made, and the Dodgers fans themselves will tell you that sometimes they don't always agree with him. But I'm not really pointing the finger at any coach this game. And now getting back to Harper, I really want to touch on the fact how you said he's not really the face of this team anymore. It's the truth. It's really the truth. And being the face of this team comes along with getting criticized. You know, we're relying on our top guys in moments like this. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, 1 for 11 combined last night. It's unacceptable. It can't happen. And I feel like we're just kind of used to it at this point, and that's why we criticize these guys the way that we do. My thing with Schwarber is it's tough for me right now with him because he's been so good, and I don't want to get down on him like that. I'm still confident in him, but I feel like I gave up on Bryce a while ago. I feel like he hasn't been himself all year. Even last season, he didn't really impress me much at all. Like, I just feel like the Phillies, man, we're really stuck with some terrible contracts. And if it doesn't happen this year, I feel like this team needs to be blown up. I mean, Nick is not going to return, and Ranger won't be back. You know, his agent Scott Boras, and his relationship with the Phillies has been shaky lately, and it's the truth. I do want to touch on this though. Kyle Schwarber's somebody who they've literally said that he's their top priority. They want to get him back. My thing to you is, though, listen, we're stuck with, I don't want to say stuck because he's the reigning batting champ. But it just feels like the most mid 304 I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, that was a 11-year deal, $300 million, something around those numbers. And he's not doing it for me. I mean, the defense is okay. It can be shaky from time to time, but I just feel like Harper, I mean, unless in the back end of, like, I don't know, man. It's tough. I just feel like these contracts, this core needs to be blown up. If something's not done here this year, some of these guys can't come back. And my question to you is, if we do lose this series, what sense is there in bringing Kyle Schwarber back? Like, is there any? I mean,
yeah,
we've had him for 4 years already. We haven't done it. We haven't won with him. It doesn't get any better than this. What he's giving you this season, and if we bring him back, it's still going to be very, very similar to the same exact core, time and time again. and it's the same product, hoping for a different result, and it's just not going to happen. Especially keep going down the line. These guys are only getting older. You know what I mean? Harper's prime is pretty much coming to an end soon. I mean, he's probably got a solid 2 to 3 years left in his prime. And to say that these last 2 years were years in his prime, that's very disappointing for a guy who's the top dollar on this team. So, like you said, I don't think he's a face of his team, and I'm not really relying on Harper to put us on his back like I was before. I'm kind of used to it nowadays. Like, I'm kind of expecting disappointment, and I feel like that's what we're getting. We're getting disappointed time and time again, and that comes with being a Philly fan. So, that's just what I want to put out there.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I like you bring up the Trey Turner contract because the contract does not correlate with the play. The way Trey Turner's playing is like a way like a guy like Tommy Edman on the Dodgers would play during the regular season, or like a Teoscar Hernandez. Like he, as I understand, he's good as a leadoff guy and he gets knocks. But you're paying that much. I'm expecting 25 to 30 home runs, close to or over 100 RBIs, and if you can keep that batting average, because obviously I know Aaron Judge sells in the postseason a lot, but he has close to a 330 average and hits bunch of nukes, bunch of RBIs,
Yeah.
and he's kind of getting paid close to that same amount of money. So why are you getting paid so much and not giving that much production? And that contract is only going to get worse as time goes on. It's based. If we look 5 years from now, it's going to be whatever young core they have left and Trey Turner and Bryce
Right.
Harper. That's basically what it's going to be. And I think you bring up a great point about Kyle Schwarber. What is the appeal to stay here? You completely pissed off the other guy that you brought in with him in that free agency, who's absolute douchebag. Fuck him, bro. Like, I understand, but he's a complete douchebag in my opinion. And he only cares about himself. He's selfish. Obviously, him and Rob, like, you don't like Rob. You've convinced me the past few years to not like Rob as well. I just think he makes way more mistakes than he does good things, in my opinion. So, but you're not bringing him back. JT Realmuto, yes, will probably be back, but he's over 30 years old, and who knows what you're going to do with him after catcher, because obviously Marchand has a lot of potential, but he's too raw, and he's also too late into his career to really develop his game into a guy that can be a consistent catcher. Alec Boehm is almost fucking 30 years old and has been the same player for 3 years, for 3 or 4 years, and he's almost 30 years
crazy.
old.
I mean, a guy that's, what is he, like 6'5", he's 200 plus pounds, and you're hitting 12 to 15 homers a year and playing a very mediocre defense at third base. This is horrible. I mean, it's terrible. At this point, my thing to you is, I want to point out the fact that, like, yeah, maybe we're overreacting a bit. Maybe the season's not over yet, but how can we help ourselves here? How can we feel any different? We have a 3-0 lead, and we take it late into the game. We take it past the 6, or almost past the 6, and it's tarnishes. And I don't know how it sounded on TV, but there was times where this crowd was still in it. We were down. Everyone probably from their seats at home thought we were out for the count, but this crowd was on their feet the whole game. I mean, from time to time, we would take a seat. All right, let's get back up now. 2 strikes, things like that. But one of my dad's buddies pointed out to him, he's like, "Oh, the crowd was crickets," and that's just it's not true. I don't know what's going on with the broadcasting, or if they're doing any muting on the crowds or not, but the crowd was on fire, and we were doing what we can. I mean, it's hard to stay on your feet like that all game, and especially when you're losing, it's we're swinging the rally tails, we're screaming at the top of our lungs. I mean, there's only so much we can do. And at this point, we kind of just feel let down. Every single one of us, including you, we just feel let down. So it's hard not to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, and you bring up that TBS. It was on TBS. It barely felt like the crowd was there. Like the JT Realmuto play, especially, I felt like there was more energy where I was watching it at. Like, and it was just me and a family member. I felt there was more energy there than it felt in the actual stadium, because TBS. I just like Fox over TBS. It's gonna be honest. I wish this series was on Fox, but obviously they alternate from year to year. But you could just tell how Fox puts a lot more work, I feel like, in than TBS. There's no discernment to TBS. I just like the announcers more and like what they do on Fox more than TBS. But it really didn't feel like the energy was there. They didn't, at least they didn't try to make it like it feel like it was there. Like they were mute, and a lot of people were complaining about that. I did see that, and I kind of felt
Yeah.
that every now and then. But like yeah, like you said, we've been at this for the past 4 years, and it's gotten worse after worse. Usually, a team that won 87 games just got into the playoffs and won the World Series. That's exactly what you need to keep projecting and eventually win that World Series. But everything ever since
Hmm.
then, it's been downhill. It's been bad moves, bringing back the wrong players, and not doing anything. Obviously, this is the first time in a while we've seen Dombrowski be aggressive at the trade deadline with Duran and Bader. That's been different than years past. But the offseason was terrible. You try to replace Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez, who had great years where they were, but obviously it's questionable if you brought them back. But you replace them with a guy like Jordan Romano, who is
Yeah.
just I'm not even talking about him. Like
He's a project. That's what he is. He's a project.
he's coming
He's
off
coming off an injury.
like, Tommy John surgery. And then Max Kepler, who's now platooning with Nick Castellanos, the guy you signed for $100 million, who was supposed to protect Bryce Harper, protect my ass. But
Yep. I gotta tell you, man, it's stressful, and the reason being is because, like you said, these guys who you're trying to replace, some of the. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say Estevez was a key part of our team because he was only here for a little bit. He was a rental, but like a guy like Jeff Hoffman, I think more of going through Dombrowski's head was, all right, we got to replace Hoffman. You know what I mean? He remembers what the team was like without Estevez. We only had him for a few weeks, a few months, whatever it was. But the thing is, with Hoffman, he had his years here, and he had his breakout here. So he's like, all right, we're gonna go out and get this guy, and we're trying to penny pinch here. We're trying to be cheap, and we're gonna go after a guy who's coming off an injury. Not a lot of teams are looking at him. Maybe he'll take this. We'll give him a 1 year deal. We'll see what he can do. It's horrible. You're not gonna win a ring off of projects. It's kind of like what the Mets did at the deadline. Like they got a bunch of projects, and I don't know, man. It's aggravating. It really, really is. And if they come back and win this series, then we can meet again here and we can talk about that and we can be a little bit more positive. But right now, there's nothing to be positive about for me at all, at all.
exactly. And I think it's just the like worry and like being terrified that when this is over, winner like especially loss, this core's done. We're
Well,
never
yeah, what do we do? What do we do
exactly.
after this?
We're stuck because obviously Schwarber's a free agent. If I'm him, I'm going to another team that has enough money that is that one piece away. Because there's so many teams that are better than us. If they add that one piece, you take Schwarber out and
And
give him.
that's the thing. Let me interrupt you real quick. Here's the thing. Schwarber, with the year he had, so right now we have a couple $100 million deals. Well, first of all, the Nola contract is awful. It's terrible. The Trey Turner contract is awful. It's terrible. I don't like it. The Harper contract, I do feel like we got him a little cheap, and I don't like to be down on the guy, but to my opinion and to my knowledge, he's not worth what he's getting paid these past 2 years. He's came up small, and I know what he's done in the past. How could I forget? And that's why I respect him, and that's why I hate talking down on him. So I try and take it a little easy on him, and I have my patience with him. But right now is the time where we need you. We need you, Bryce. Like, seriously. And Schwarber's going to be getting paid 200 plus million in this offseason. At least I think, if I had to give you my estimate, I think he's going to at least be 150 to a $200 million player. He's probably going to get a 5 year deal, maybe more. He's not that young. He's not. Can we afford to lose this season and then hand out another contract to a guy like Schwarber who's passing the years in his prime? I mean, we can't. In my opinion, we can't. We need to get younger, and if we lose this year, I think we need to make a lot of moves. I think we need to blow it up. I really do. I don't mind bringing a guy like JT back. I like the leadership. I like the defense. So I also don't think JT is going to get that big of a bag. So I think I think we can afford JT. Let's just talk if we lose and if we see the offseason sooner than later. I think we can afford to bring a guy like JT back. But when I look at Schwarber, and maybe if you asked me this 2 months ago, I'm telling you, oh, we got to bring him back. We got to bring him back. But you have to factor in these contracts that are so brutal. I mean, Aaron Nola is awful. He's terrible. It hurts me to say that, but he's a dud. We're not going to get anywhere with him. I'm scared to put that guy out there on the mound this offseason. I mean, this postseason. Rob Thompson thinks otherwise. He's ready to put him out there, rain, sleet, or snow. I'm like, this is my problem with him. And then my thing here is, now that we're on Rob Thompson, you know how I feel about the Schwarber. I don't think if we lose, I don't think it's smart to give a guy like that who's on the back, who's going to be coming up on the back end of his career, and we're going to have to sign him long term. So those last couple years on his contract, he's going to be older. Who knows how much longer he can do this for? I mean, yeah, he is a DH, so he's probably going to be able to swing the bat very, very good. And maybe the whole deal he gets, right? I'm not hating on Schwarber. Love the guy. But it's a risk. It's a risk, and the reward is, like I said, I think his ceiling was this season. This is what you're going to get out of Kyle Schwarber on his best year. What he did this year, I don't think it gets any better than that. So if we waste this year, especially the last year on his deal, what's the sense in giving this guy $200 million to come back and do the same exact thing? If we couldn't prevail with this, you know what I mean? If we give him $200 million, there's not much other things we can do. There's not many other guys we can get. You see what I'm saying? So it's gonna be the same exact core pretty much with different projects, literally. And projects haven't been anything for us, and that's my thing. And then moving on to Rob Thompson, like I said, I'm not pointing the finger. I'm not pointing the loss at him last night, but it's very, very questionable to bring back David Robertson after he gets that final out. It's questionable to bring him back out there. I mean, the 3-out rule, once the innings flip, it's done. It's out of the occasion. So why not go to somebody else? And I was listening to WIP after the game, and his theory on that was, oh, well, I just really wanted to have a lefty for Ohtani. I really wanted to have a lefty on Ohtani. So I figured, all right, he can get these two guys, and then we'll get a lefty on Ohtani. Ohtani's not batting right now. This is the postseason. Worry about who's batting. We'll focus on him when he comes up to the plate. I mean, that's just my thing. And we're looking ahead, and we're downplaying these Dodgers. That's what I think of when I'm hearing, oh, I'm just really focused on Ohtani, and I want to have a lefty on him. So what about these other two guys? They're automatic outs? Come on. This is why we got the bullpen additions that we did. And then you got a guy like Tanner Banks having a great season. Why you can put a lefty in? I'm tired of the analytics, man. Like, oh, we got to have a lefty on this lefty. We got to have a right-handed pitcher in for this guy, and it just stop it. If the guy's been good, let him pitch. That's my thing. I'm tired of the analytics. You've been focusing on analytics for 4 years. It's got us nowhere. It's got us absolutely nowhere. So why do you keep relying on these analytics? Oh, we need a lefty on this guy, and we need a righty on this guy. I don't buy it. I don't want to hear that anymore. I want our best pitcher in the game in the biggest moment, and that's that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I totally agree, and I want to start off with what you said about Schwarber. Why bring a guy back when you keep losing in these series because your offense goes cold? It's that simple, and Schwarber included. He's great in the regular season, but he's notorious for going cold in the playoffs. And then, like you said, what is it with these analytics? Especially the analytics is when Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh are playing well. He'll take him out. They'll take him out in the regular season when they have like close to like a 7-8 game hit streak. Oh, we'd rather throw out the righty out there like Weston Wilson, who we've had arguments about should not be a major league player, and and then obviously, let me ask you this real quick: you think Sosa was the right decision last night?
So my thing was, I did want Sosa to bat in that circumstance. But taking out Bader, and I know they said he had some groin tightness. How bad was he hurting? Because the rumors are he's going to play tomorrow, and that's what they're saying. Oh, the MRIs came back clean, but how bad could he have been hurting take him out of the game and just to be ready not even 2 days later. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm a guy who thinks that I'm not a big believer in Kepler. I mean, I know he had that double late in the game last night, but I don't think Kepler should be batting, at least starting. Especially, like, I think you got to go down with your ship. We've had Nick for this is 4th year. He's got one year left after this. Um, why now? Why take him out now? Go down with your ship. And that's just my thing. I think Nick should have been in the lineup last night, and I think I really think Rojas should be on this roster too because it almost came back to bite us not having a center fielder last night. Kepler was in center field late last night, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why they had to keep him in is because nobody else can play center field.
Yeah. I think I'm going to end it off like this. The Philadelphia Phillies are officially in Philadelphia 76ers territory. I think it's very reasonable to say that. I saw that a lot over social media, and I think it's true. The past few years, failure after failure after failure with teams that are championship contending teams, and they got nothing out of it. So, you got anything else left to say, or are you ready to transition?
Yeah, it's not crazy to say that. And I think changes will be made if we drop this series to the Dodgers. I think I'm going to give you my input, and I'm going to tell you what I think needs to happen. I think if we lose this series, I think Rob needs to be gone. I would really, really consider getting rid of Dave. I like his deadline additions, but a bunch of projects in the offseason isn't cutting it for me. I know maybe he's thinking salary cap. Okay, we can't pay these many guys, and we got to focus on Schwarber in the offseason. And it's just a bunch of looking ahead. It really is. I really don't think we can have that, especially like we pointed to earlier. These guys are only getting older. We got to stop looking ahead, and we need to focus on what's in front of us. And that's not something that the Phillies been doing, and I don't like it. I think in this offseason, if we drop this series, I think Rob needs to go. I think you can really consider Dave moving on, and I think Nick 100%. No matter what they get for him, will be gone in this offseason. He's not happy here. He hasn't necessarily discussed that he's not happy here, but it's clear as day. The guy's making $100 million. He doesn't want to platoon with Max Kepler. It's embarrassing and it's kind of disrespect. It really is kind of disrespect. And I'm not always happy with Nick. I know he doesn't do it. I know lately, man, he hasn't been doing his job, and it sucks to say that, but he'll be gone. I think Ranger Suarez will move on to free agency. I think that's almost an automatic. He's going to get a lot of money. And I think if we lose, man, I think it's better off we let Kyle Schwarber walk and we figure it out with these young guys. I think Painter needs to be up here no matter what next season. We can't let these guys rot in the minor leagues. No matter what he does, he's got to come up. I think Crawford's got to come up. And I think you have to make a splash. I think you got to go out there and you got to replace one of these starting pitchers. Obviously, Nola's going to be back next season. He's going to be in the rotation. Maybe go out and grab a guy like Michael King on a short-term deal. And then maybe look at getting another bat. But the question is, you couldn't do it with Schwarber. Who on the market this offseason can we do it with if we can't do it with him? But I think we need a star in the outfield. I really, really think we need a star in the outfield. And that's just where I'm at. I think it's going to be tough. I think this was our year, and I think this is the end of the road for this core. And I really, really think, like you said, that it's not crazy to say that the Phillies are in 76ers territory with the loss to the Dodgers in this series.
Yeah. And
that's where we'll leave it.
It's just so tough, too, because we're both so passionate fans. But something I realize now as the years go by, you got to realize when you're in the good old days, because when you're in them, as soon as you're out of them, it's tough. But 2022 was a great time. I wish I could go back to that time span, because that's the last time I felt belief in this team. That's the last time my heart was connected to the Phillies. I felt I was with the team. I felt this is only going to project to greater things in future seasons. They have so much to look forward to. An 87-win team that barely just got in. Literally all were connected and got themselves to the World Series and were 2 wins away from beating a great Astros team. And now we look back, and what is there left to say? So what I would like to take out of the Philadelphia Phillies and this championship core or trying to win a championship is when you're in the good old days, make sure you realize that because as soon as you're out of them, it's going to be tough and it's a straight shot to the heart. So,
Yep.
but you said you wanted to mention you want to talk about Penn State real quick because obviously they lost to winless UCLA, and I'm gonna open off with this. I don't know if you saw this, but they asked Drew Aller if he still thinks he can make the playoffs. And yeah, you saw. All right, go ahead and let me know how you feel about that and where Penn State goes from all this.
Yeah, so I think it's a little snarky of a remark to say, "What do you think?" Because at the end of the day, you're sitting unranked right now. You're sitting unranked, and you're getting closer and closer to the biggest game of your season against Ohio State. Well, what do you mean? What do I think? What do I think? I think you're done. I think your season's over. So I think you need to drop the attitude, and you need to look in the mirror, dude, and you need to realize that you're not as good as they've been hyping you up to be. And I'm not putting the full blame on him. Big game Franklin. Every single year, he cannot come through in a big game ever. And this wasn't a big game. You're disappointed. You disappointed us against Oregon. Now we're coming in to UCLA. We're thinking, all right, show us something. Show us that Oregon's the real deal. Show us that you're going to blow this team out, and we're going to go into Ohio State, the Ohio State game, with all the momentum. Everything's clicking. We're pissed off about the loss against Oregon. We're ready to win these games. We're ready to blow these teams out that are in front of us, and we're going to go into Ohio State, and we're going to put the belt on them. We're going to fight, and we're going to do this. Nah, they didn't even show up, dude. And I think they deserve to be unranked right now. I really do. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this, where we thought Penn State was going to be ranked after the loss yesterday. And I told him I think they'd be sitting around 23 or 24. Nope. No mercy. No mercy at all. They're unranked. They're going to face a Northwestern team unranked. It's brutal. So I don't think I really think it was a good question by that reporter. I think asking him if he thinks the playoff hopes are still alive was a great question. Because are they? I don't think they are. That's just my opinion to you. I think everyone's saying, oh, fire Franklin. And yeah, Franklin's got to be fired. But they fed him a contract to where now if they fire him, he's getting 50+ million up front if he leaves this team. Can Penn State afford to do that? I don't think so. I don't think they can take that hit. I don't. So I think this is another team. You got to go down with your ship. This year's over. They're done. They're gonna get embarrassed by Ohio State. They're 20+ point favorites against Northwestern. If they don't cover that, they should be ashamed of themselves. After these two disappointing losses, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing with them. And I'm not the biggest Penn State fan myself. I mean, I don't really dabble into college like that. I'm more of a, I'm looking into the pros, but I keep an eye out for college and I watch it. But it's not hard to realize that this team is embarrassing. They're disappointing, and they might be the worst of all, dude. They really might be the worst of all. Big game Franklin. That's all I can say. He's holding them back. He really is.
I think that was a great question, like you said, but it also showed Drew Aller is not a professional. And any I don't know if you saw that report before the Oregon game. Some NFL scouts thought that he was a first-round talent. You could throw that out the window. I think he's he's undrafted. And if we learned anything from Penn State, like obviously you said, I follow Penn State, but now that I go to Temple, I support them more than anything. Obviously, they won against UTSA. Only thing I could take great out of this weekend. So, but moving on with Penn State, I thought last year was their opportunity. They had a great team. They had the best edge rusher in the nation. They had the best tight end in the nation, and they literally had that Notre Dame game. And once again, Drew Aller throws a terrible ball. I knew right then and there, like, obviously not, like I said, I support Temple more, but I knew right then and there, I was like, he's done. He needs to be out of there. Like, when I saw him returning as a senior, I was like, yeah, they're not doing anything. And I don't even know why those two running backs came back in Singleton and Katron Allen, because they're great running backs. And then you even see it. Their backup, Bayo Perbula, I think is 4-1 right now with the Mizzous, and they're ranked. They're ranked. Missouri's ranked right now with Bayo Perbula.
That's the thing. Franklin is very, very generous to his guys, and it almost reminds me of the the relationship. I don't mean to backtrack here, but some of these coaches, for instance, I don't know if you remember, but like Thompson had some of his connections and some of his guys. Like right now, right off the top of my head, I can tell you that him and Kepler, that's got to be his buddy, man. It has to be his buddy because they're showing way too much generosity to these guys. And Bo Perbula was the guy that you needed to go out there and keep. He showed flashes, and when he did come into the games for like blowouts or if Allard took a hit and they needed Bo to step in real quick, he showed flashes. Bo was the guy to keep, and he's showing it in Missouri right now. And I think they're lost. Like you said, Abdul Carter, Tyler Warren. Them without them two guys, they're lost, and it's showing. And it's very, very. It's kind of like you said. When you're in the good old times, you got to realize it, and you got to really soak it in. They had the best team in the nation. They had the most talent in the nation, and game-winning drive down to the wire. Aller throws a pick, and that might have been the end.
Yeah, I wonder because I think Ohio State probably would have won because Ohio State was on a great run in that playoffs. But just to get to the national championship with that team, and because they played close, and obviously they probably would have lost because big game Franklin.
Right.
But
Right.
you were great last year. Abdul Carter was dominant. He destroyed every team. Like your only loss, you only had 2 losses, and the Oregon game you almost came back in. Like that game, they looked great in that game, and then it proceeded to look great in the playoffs. They shut down Ashton Genty. They looked great against SMU, but then they played Notre Dame. They were in that game. They had that game in the bag. Drew Aller had an opening drive touchdown and missed Nick Singleton. From that point forward, Drew Aller did not have his best game in that game. The defense bailed him out so much and kept them in the game. They were up 10 points at one point and completely blew it because, and then Abdul Carter getting hurt sucked. But losing out on Bayo Perbula, he could have been great in this offense this year because now they finally decide to bring wide receivers in. Now they finally get 3 transfers and Kyron Hudson and all these other guys that I can't think of. But still, like they bring in these wide receivers. Why not do that last year when you had Tyler Warren? Tyler Warren was the center point of this offense. No one could stop him week after week after week. He was putting up generational numbers, and he's doing the same in the NFL. Had his first NFL touchdown today. He's a great tight end prospect. He's one of the best I've seen in a while. He's so good. I help on Abdul Carter again. And then you have...
I mean, interrupt you. I think Warren's got a couple touchdowns this season. I think he's got 3.
Nah, he's got 1. Today was his first career.
I think you're wrong about that, Zach.
He had 1 rushing touchdown. He's had 2 career, but his first receiving touchdown was today.
All right. I don't want to fact check you on your own podcast, Zach, but I would like to disagree there.
Okay. You can check after and let me know. But
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but you want to transition into the final thing we want to talk about? Because there's a lot of things I need to get off my chest.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get it done.
Okay. So Kenny mentioned that he was at the Phillies game. I got lucky enough and was blessed to go to the Eagles game today. And obviously, if you saw the content earlier today, keep supporting. We hope it's only better from here. We love the support. We love everything, the comments that you're giving us, guys. We appreciate it so much. It's only up from here.
And as a viewer, Zach, I do want to tell you I'm seeing the progress, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Keep doing what you're doing. It's paying off, and it will pay off more in the future for sure.
Yeah. But... like I said, I need to get a lot of things on my chest. There's one thing in particular, though. A.J. Brown. Let me talk about you real quick. You want to quote and say all this stuff and say you're frustrated. You're not running for the fucking ball, retard. What the fuck are you doing? I'm dead ass. I'm so pissed off with this motherfucker because Jalen Hurts, I think if anyone has anything to say about Jalen Hurts, come say it to my face because he played a great game. No matter what you want to say, he should not be getting any hate. He had close to over 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and some of his deep balls he threw were beautiful. Saquon to Devontae Smith to Jahad Dotson, the one that should have been in. And that AJ one was another one. But why the fuck did you stop running? You're complaining about not getting the ball. Go run after and catch a touchdown. If you're that great receiver. He gave up.
Gave up on his route. 100%.
And then, don't even get me started with this fucking retard, fucking dumbass in Kevin Patullo. 6 attempts for Saquon Barkley? Are you kidding me? 6 attempts. Horrible. 6 attempts. And he's one of the best running backs in the league, and you give him 6 fucking attempts. I'm tired of this shit. You can hear my voice because I was screaming all day. This game was 17-3 into the fourth quarter. Your defense gave you a chance to win. If it wasn't for if they had 2 years ago's defense, the Broncos are hanging 30 on our asses. But they gave you 21. They gave you a chance to win the game. Obviously, the referees were terrible in this game. We bring up the referees all the time. Terrible play on Goddard. How the hell do you pick up that intentional grounding? There was not even a receiver close to 30, 40 yards near the field, and you pick that shit up without even telling anyone either. They're just like, it's 3rd and 6, and obviously Denver picks it up. But the only bad things I want to talk about the defense is Quinyon Mitchell. This is probably his worst game of his career, without a doubt. He was getting targeted a lot and did really nothing about it. Killy Ringo, whoever's in that position is just god-awful between him and Torrey Jackson in general.
Literally.
But then other than that, the defense played solid as a whole. Obviously, Zach Bond's unnecessary roughness, that's 50-50, but that can't happen.
I'll get to my opinions about all this. Keep going.
Yeah, but then just overall, you were up 17-3, and I keep bringing this A.J. Brown. If A.J. Brown catches that and walks into the end zone, it's 24-3. You're completely neutralizing the Broncos' offense. They're not getting anything done. And you put that kill shot into the game, it's over. Even if he doesn't score a touchdown, they're deep into the field, and they're ready to go score at least a touchdown or a field goal to go up either 20-3 or 24-3. But A.J. Brown being such a fucking drama queen, and I love him as a receiver. He's absolutely amazing the way he can, the talent he has. But not only is he affecting him, he's affecting the coaching because 6 attempts for Saquon Barkley is inexcusable. He's just a decoy out there at this point. No team is scared. No team is scared about him anymore because he doesn't do anything. If he does do something, it's just a run up the middle. And obviously, I was happy that he got involved in the passing game with that wheel route. But that was Jalen Hurts realizing that Alex Singleton was on him in coverage and decided to make the adjustment. Because that definitely wasn't the design play, 100%. I don't think so, with Kevin Patullo. And A.J. Brown runs the same 3 routes. He runs a slant, a button hook, or just a fly route. He runs the exact same 3 routes. And he got targets, plenty of them, so he shouldn't be complaining about anything. But then this is how I'm going to end it off. I heard this from someone. I was actually watching Bros earlier, and I heard this. After the play, he didn't say a word to Jalen Hurts. That's your fucking quarterback. You're not going to say anything to him like, all right, man, we missed that. On to the next play. Nothing. And he just goes back on the silence like this. He's slouched like this. Cannot give a care in the world reading fucking Inner Excellence. How much of that fucking Inner Excellence are you reading? Because it's not fucking working. All right, go ahead, man, because I'm fed up.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to hold back on this team. And I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm an Eagles fan. I love Philly, love my city. This Eagles team going into this week, it sucks to say, but this Eagles team may be the worst 4-0 team in the history of the league going into today. And we've been getting away with a lot these first 4 weeks. And today it all caught up to us. Every bit that we've been getting away with caught up to us. You pointed out Quinyon's worst game of his career probably today. Quinyon's been getting away with so much this season. He's been getting away with holding. He's been getting away with not looking at the ball. He never looks back at the ball. You can watch him. He does not look back at the ball. All he does is focus on where the guy's running, and it's hard. It's hard to keep getting away with calls when you're not looking back at the ball because when you're looking back, there's always an argument to say he was trying to make a play on the ball. But when you're not facing the quarterback and you're not looking at where the ball's going, you're just standing there like this and you're grabbing the receiver. And whenever the receiver puts his hands up, you know what I mean? You're going to try and time it perfectly to get your hands in there, and you're going to get called for some of those. And that's one of the reasons why if you always look back at the ball and you try and make a play on the ball, because if they do throw a flag, there's always that argument that, hey, I was trying to make a play on the ball. That's it. So I think Quinyon's been getting away with a lot of mistakes these first 4 weeks, and today caught up to him. The offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, he's a terrorist. I don't like the guy. You know how I feel about the guy. I think he's horrible. My thing is, like you said, there's so many things that we can point out. Saquon not getting the workload that he should. A.J. Brown not getting the workload that he should. But if you're looking at this, like, these guys aren't getting open, and this is just my opinion. If you have an argument, put it in the comments below, and if you disagree with us, feel free. You know, we're here to talk, and we're here to acknowledge you. So I think that Patullo is horrible, and I think that he's trying to do something different with this offense, and it doesn't make sense to me because Hurts has had many coordinators in his career, and it sucks because we can never keep a coordinator, but I can tell you right now, we won't have a problem keeping this guy. We won't. Nobody wants this guy. My thing with Hurts is he's been a winner everywhere he's went. Everywhere he's went. Whatever coach he was with, Hurts wins. So all he does is win. So why are you trying to come in here and make something happen, make something different with this offense? You build the offense around Hurts. You talk to your quarterback, and you design the plays around what he's comfortable with, and then you'll see the results that we want. When you point out Saquon, it sucks, right? I feel like our offensive line has been playing banged up week after week. Landon Dickerson is not healthy. I really think he should sit Thursday out. I think he needs a break, and like we're playing Thursday, so he'll get the rest of these days off, and then after Thursday, we're gonna have an extended break. He's gonna get those days off. Potentially could be healthy. I think Cam Jurgens is playing injured. I think he's not healthy. I really don't. I think he needs a week off. Will that happen? I don't think so. And I'm not saying that we're a better team with these guys off the field by any means, but I'm saying that with these guys healthy, maybe we can afford to try and fight the Giants with some of our best offensive linemen not on the field. I don't hate doing that because these guys can get a whole bye weeks of rest, basically, if you want to look at it that way. And then they can come back healthy. And I think we can beat this Giants team without some of our best guys. I really do. I think this loss was needed, dude. I think this loss was really needed. And I'm not panicking. I'm not hitting the panic button, but I think there's work to do. I think you need to go in. I think you need to start over. This offense needs to be designed around Jalen Hurts. It needs to be designed around our quarterback. And the reason I say that is, like I told you prior, he's won everywhere he's went. Every coordinator he's had, he's been able to adapt. But it seems like with this guy, he can't. And I know you were at the game, but if they were showing, Patullo will come up to him, will try and get in his ear, and Hurts just kind of shrugs him off. He doesn't want anything to do with him, and I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. It's kind of a joke. I mean, every play, it's either a 3-yard pass to Dallas Goedert, hoping for yards after a catch, or, Hurts is in the pocket, he's scrambling around, nobody's open downfield. These guys are running the same routes time and time again. If you look, like, these guys on defense, nobody's downfield. They know what's coming. We're lined up in the same formations time and time again. It's the same shit. Same shit. And we need to get into the NovaCare before we head over to MetLife, and we need to change that playbook. We need to think of something quick. We need to look, if it's possible, we need to look back at some plays we were doing maybe last year, maybe 2022, and we need to bring some of them plays back. And I know it's tough, right? We lost guys like Becton. Becton was a guy who would create so many holes for Saquon, right? And he's a big guy. He can throw you around like it's nothing. So it's hard for Saquon to generate some space without a guy like that. So I get it. You know what I mean? But 6 carries is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I get it. Yeah, he's averaging less than 3 yards a carry right now. And that's just unacceptable. He had his longest rush of the season this year for 17 yards. What are we going into week 6? Like, if you would have told me his longest rush of the season going into week 6 was 17 yards, I'd be very, very disappointed. So I think this loss was needed. Obviously, they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And you had that argument being 4-0. You did. Because we were getting wins. But I thought, like I said, we were getting away with a lot of shit, man. And it all caught up to us today. And I truly, truly think that this was a loss that this team needed. And this Thursday night, we need to see a different team. We need to see different plays. We need to mix it up. And we need to go out there and we need to punish the Giants. That's that. I don't think Dickerson will play this game. I really don't. And if he does, I'd be very, very disappointed because it's not the right choice. He needs to sit at the very least. I would love for Jurgens to sit too, just because I feel like he's a little banged up. And I know these backup offensive linemen are terrible. They're not doing their jobs either. So it'll be even tougher. But if you get them guys rest, maybe you find, the groove that we needed. Or maybe it's not them. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a big question mark, but luckily we got this loss, and I know it's crazy to say that, but we needed it. I'm telling you right now, we needed it for a change. Something's going to change, and I hope it works out. I hope it really does work out.
Yeah. I think you bring up a great point about Landon Dickerson. I don't think he should play because, one, he's already hurt, and two, we're going into one of the most injury-prone stadiums. So you play him, he might get an injury worse than he already has. But then this is what I want to say about Kevin Patullo real quick. I just want to switch this. Sorry for people that like pineapple on their pizza. I don't. Kevin Patullo is like, he sees a plain pizza, looks great, just throws a bunch of pineapple on it. It's like, yeah, and tries to present it to people that like normal pizza. I like toppings on my pizza, I'm saying it like that. But he tries to throw a bunch of fucking pineapple on the pizza and present it to people and be like, this is good, guys, right? No, the fuck it's not. He tries to put out this thing. He has a perfectly set team and just wants to be like dink and duck there. Like, oh, we should do this instead of that. Why mess with what works? In this scenario, yes. What it don't broke, don't fix it. Like, it was working last year. It was working efficiently. Why change this whole thing now? I honestly, Mekhi Becton seems like a huge loss at this point. It's tough for Tyler Steen. Tyler Steen has been playing terrible, but Mekhi Becton played such a big role. Landon Dickerson shouldn't play. I don't think they're gonna not put Jurgens out there because you said our backups are already.
Jurgens will be out there.
Our backups are already worse. You don't want to put up a backup center because God knows what he'll throw a couple over Jalen Hurts' head, and that's 15 yards lost on that play right there. They have a lot to clean up. This Giants game, we talked about it with like the Phillies and everything. Or we talked about it with Penn State if they lose to Northwestern. If they go into Thursday and the Giants embarrass them or even beat them, I think the season's over. Or not season's over, but you might have to hit the panic button. Like everything will be crazy. Like you'll be like, oh, Patullo's gone. Can we trust Nick Sirianni anymore? Can we is this offense ever going to be as good as it was last year? Everyone will be asking different questions, and it's all because we don't know what's going to happen. And Kevin Patullo has put us in this situation that if we keep losing games, and now this, like you said, we might have need this loss, but this loss also could be the start of a huge losing streak. It really could be. It could go either way. I'm hoping it's just a loss that we needed that can help us recoup and have a great stretch to the rest of the season because your bye week's week 9. I hope to see maybe only 2 or 3 losses the way this team's playing right now. But if we're at like sub 500, it's gonna be really bad. That's all I got to say.
That's the thing. I don't think that we'll be sub 500. I really don't. But I can also tell you right now, from being a fan for the time I've been, Patullo's not going anywhere. He's not. And the thing is, as much as we want to cry for it, as much as we want to say get rid of him, it's not going to happen. We need to accept that. But the thing is, it's early. It is early, and we are off to a record-wise a good start. You know what I mean? 4-1 is, you don't ever want to complain about that. You know, we could be Cardinals fans, we could be Ravens fans, and we're not. That's a good thing. But he needs to make a change. He needs to go back into this playbook, heading into Thursday night, and he needs to ask Jalen, hey, maybe throw me some plays here. What do you like? Or maybe just give him the play calling. Give up play calling. Give it to your quarterback. Maybe Sirianni takes initiative and says, hey, just train these guys, work with these guys during our off time. I'll take care of the plays. Maybe something like that needs to happen. That's what I think should happen. I don't think, I would love to get rid of him, but it's not going to happen. Give him a chance. And when I say him, I'm talking about Sirianni. Sirianni, at the end of the day, makes the decisions. So he can easily say, look, I want my quarterback to call these plays. Or look, I got this. I'll take care of the plays. Something like that needs to happen going into Thursday night. Try something out. Try something new. Don't if we don't go into the NovaCare before this game and try different shit, and we see the same result Thursday night, I don't care if we beat the Giants. I want to dominate the Giants. I want no questions asked after this game. I want to see a different team, and I want to see a different product on this field. I'm not panicking. I'm not, by any means. But this loss creates change, and I know it does. I know this team, and I'm telling you right now, something's going to change. We're going to go into Thursday night, and we need to dominate the Giants. No questions asked. We need to win by at least 2 scores, and we need to see flashes of great offense and flashes to last year's offense. That's the truth. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we see this thing like we're 4-1. It's all right, I guess. But I like how you mentioned Jalen needs to go talk. It obviously worked last year. The offensive linemen, as leaders, went to go talk to Sirianni and be like, "Yo, we need to run the ball." And after that, it was great. You need to get back to that RPO game, and you need to be running the ball more than you're passing. Because this, Jalen, they said, I think I heard this. This is the most time Jalen Hurts has thrown the ball since like September of last year. Like he's not, and it's worked. Jalen is the type of quarterback. He's there when you need him to be. He's there when you need to make a play, and he did. That on that 4th down, that beautiful ball to Smitty that got called back because of the illegal shift. That's game-winning quarterbacks. I'd rather have a guy that can get me a 1st down on a 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 14 than a guy who throws all these touchdowns and all these interceptions. Justin Herbert, mind you, who's now 3-2 after back-to-back losses. But that's besides the point. But I'd rather have a quarterback that makes me game-winning plays than a quarterback that puts up flashy stats but can't make the game-winning plays. That's how I just feel. Jalen Hurts has been able to has had to adjust year after year after year with different offensive coordinators, different minds in his head, and he's had to just take the punches, and he adjusted. Obviously, 2023 was a tough season for him, but he was set up in a terrible scenario. QB draws on 3rd and 14. His offense was just terrible, and the defense didn't help him either, and he had to be basically Superman to keep them in that game and get them to a 10-1 record. But he's a great quarterback. You could see he has a beautiful deep ball when you give him the time. And he's great as a progression passer. And he's just getting better at every little thing. As you see, every little game he's getting better with. 2 years ago, he wasn't great at picking up the blitz. He's better at picking up the blitz now. Just these little intangibles every single year. He's better at picking up that. But now this offensive coordinator is holding him back from his full potential. And we have our franchise quarterback. We have our superstar. We have our dual threat quarterback that can make you game-winning plays. And I don't care what people want to say. Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. He might even be a top 5 quarterback. But obviously that we could go on for ages on how people feel about that. That's just how I feel. But you can't help it when your offensive coordinator is holding you and your superstar offense back.
That's exactly. I was just about to say that. Not only is he holding Jalen back, but he's holding everybody back. Everybody's being held back. They're running the same plays constantly. There's no opportunity here whatsoever. At the defenses, they know what's coming, and it's not hard. I mean, me and you can sit on the couch and we can tell you what play is going to be ran here. That's trouble. That's not okay. And we can complain on and on about it. There's nothing at the end of the day. There's nothing we can do, but we know from our knowledge that change needs to happen. And like I said, all I can say is something needs to happen in these few days that we have off. We need to hand the playbook over to somebody else, and we need to hand the play calling over to somebody else. Doesn't mean fire Patullo, as much as I would love for it to happen. And I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But what can happen is change. And we're going to see how good of a coach Sirianni is and if he allows the play calling to be in somebody else's hands this Thursday night. And that's what needs to happen. And if that doesn't happen, then the plays need to be changed as a whole. Leave the play calling to Patullo, but test out new plays in the very minimum days that we have off, heading in a short week on Thursday night.
Yeah. There's so much. We already had a lot of issues coming in to this Denver game, but now everything is thrown out the window. And then this is something I haven't harped on yet, but it's something that definitely needs to. The time of possession. Denver had 35 minutes of time of possession while we only had 23. What does that show? And I saw this, I heard about this. 2 out of their 3 drives, or I think 2 or 3 out of their drives, were 3 or 4 play
Three
drives
outs.
for
Yeah.
negative yards. How do you go and have a drive for negative yards? You have an offense filled with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahad Dotson, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and when that offensive line is healthy, they are good. How do you have negative plays? It's inexcusable because he doesn't know how to do. He doesn't know how to run these plays. We saw it a few weeks ago with the Rams. Jahad Dotson and Devontae Smith ran the same exact route, and Jalen,
And that was
you
horrible.
didn't know who he was throwing it to because they were running the exact same route. It was so bad. It's not hard for these defenses, and obviously I'm going to give credit to Denver because they have a great defense. And I think I mentioned this to you. It would make sense that we lose this game because it's a terrible combination for us. A terrible offense facing a great defense is not
Right.
the greatest recipe for disaster. It's a great recipe for disaster. And Bo Nix, I think he's a solid quarterback. He ain't a great quarterback, but he was set up in perfect positions because the defense gave up a touchdown and were right back on the field in the next 2 to 3 minutes because the offense couldn't do anything to respond. And how much more are you going to keep bailing on this defense? Because eventually things are just going to explode and they're not going to be able to stop. Obviously, they have a great defense, but there's going to be that 1 game or 2 games or maybe even 3 games that the defense can't win you the game, and your offense is going to be standing there, putting up 17 points and lose 41-17. Obviously,
Yeah.
you bring up the Ravens. If this doesn't get fixed, we could be at that point with our team fully healthy, or not with our team fully healthy, but with our majority of our players playing. It's just not because we're hurt. This offensive coordinator just doesn't know what he's doing. It could get to that point. I'm dead ass serious. I think it could happen in the next few weeks because after the bye week, it does not get any better. You face Green Bay, you face Detroit, you face Buffalo down later in the year, you face Washington. Now they have Jaden Daniels back. You face all these other teams. You face the Chargers. I know they mentioned them. They're still not a bad team. They're a great team. It doesn't get any better for you in the second half. So you have a lot to clean up now. And obviously, I think I mentioned this to someone. I was hoping by the Giants game we were 4-1. I'm just not happy the way we've gone to 4-1. That's all.
Yeah,
I'll
of course.
So, but anything else you want to say to recap everything we talked about? Any closing
Yeah.
remarks?
Real quick, I just wanna point out. I just wanna give you a little response on the things that you said. Um, the time of possession, it's horrible. If I'm not mistaken, I think we have the most 3-and-outs in the league, and coming into today, we were 4-0. Like I said earlier, how does that happen? How do we go 4-0 and not hold the ball on offense? And that's the thing. We keep relying on this defense, and today was a hot day. Today, it's hotter on the field. These players, they're big guys. They feel that. Look back on the Tampa Bay game. We started off pretty solid, man. And then the heat just gets to this defense, and it does. And there's nothing to be upset about there. We're human. It's normal, but that's the offense's job. Hold the ball. Give these guys a little bit of a rest. I mean, we can clearly see towards the end of these games, these guys are tired and they're off the field. 2 minutes later, they're coming right back on the field. That can't happen, and we're not gonna win games if that keeps happening. I mean, obviously we're getting deeper into the year, so maybe the weather excuse will be out of the picture, right? But that doesn't mean 3-and-outs are okay and a minute and a half possessions are okay. It's not. It's not. But we're coming up. We're coming up on the Giants, and we're coming up on the Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. So those are games we got to win. And like I said, I think this loss comes at a perfect time. I think we needed this loss because we weren't playing our best football. And towards 2023, I want to point out we weren't. I mean, yeah, we looked good, but there was problems. And similar to our offensive coordinator felt like he was holding people back in 2023, and it happened. It happened later. This year, it's happening sooner rather than later, and I like that. I really do. I think let it happen now, because we can make changes now, and we know the changes that we have to make now. So we're coming up on 2 opponents that I think that are very, very beatable. Like I said, try new things these next 2 games, and we're going to get some rest after this week. We're going to have extended rest. So try something new this Thursday, and then try something new against the Vikings. And if it works and you find us clicking, watch out. I'm serious. Don't panic yet. There's no need to panic. I'm just saying, I think we're okay. Like I said, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's happening now, and I think that you'll see changes. And if you don't, we'll get back on here and we'll talk about that because that's an issue.
Yeah. And I just want to tell you this. You know how much 2 years ago, I know obviously it changed a lot for you, but for me, I know I talked to you this about a lot. 2023 changed me as a fan. It 100% did. I lost
Yeah,
I lost I lost that confidence personality that I had, and it just became a guy who's conservative game by game and just hoping that they win.
yeah,
I used at beginning of 2022, beginning of freshman year at high school, I was the most confident guy possible. I had so much confidence even when we weren't that good in 2021 and 2022, and it continued when we were good and went to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But that 2023, it changed me as a person, and now I look at this team, and it just these little things bring me back to 2023, and it just can't get out of my mind. It literally can't. Like these little things, game after game, it just reminds me of that, and it just makes me more of the fan that I am now. And honestly, I just feel like this team, after this game, and someone brought this up, this team doesn't feel connected, and they need to get connected fast. AJ Brown
correct.
could care less about what's going on. He only cares about himself right now. Saquon, he 100% has the ability to be upset because you can see what he can fucking do if you see what's behind me right there. He has the ability to be a special player, and he is the special player, and you just don't decide to use him. Smitty finally got involved. Happy for him because he's an amazing receiver. You can see that with the ability of catches he's able to make. Only thing I'm happy about is how they're involving Dallas Goedert, but that means everyone else is taking a hit. Literally
Yeah,
everyone else is taking a hit because they're only involving Dallas Goedert. This team needs to find a way to stay connected because there's breaks through the cracks. This could be a McNabb Owens part two with Hurts and J.J. Brown because they're boys. But once you step onto that field, I mean, you both getting a lot of money. You're trying to win games. And A.J. Brown, he's a great player, but he can very much be selfish sometimes and he gets in his head a lot and only seems to care about himself really sometimes. Like he can be great sometimes, like I said, but he seems to only care about himself a lot. But I think they need to find a way to clean up things. I like you mentioned that they need to bring in fresh things and try things out in this Giants game. I think it's a great opportunity to do. Don't get me wrong, this Giants defense is also very good with their pass rush and their secondary is not great, but it's solid enough for right now. And obviously they're coming off an embarrassing loss to the Saints, so they want to get back. Cam Scatterboo's not happy. Their quarterback Jackson Dart's not happy, and Brian Daboll's on the hot seat, so he's got nothing to lose. He's probably going to be fired at the end of the year, so he's going to throw out everything. He's going to throw out everything in the kitchen sink for God's sakes. So he's got nothing to lose. This Giants team, you could set yourself up for this being a trap game. I'm dead serious. Like you could walk into there and honestly lose. I'm not taking that out of the question. I'm not giving any disrespect until I see things cleaned up. Any team can beat us right now. Literally any team
right,
that we play
right.
in our schedule. So
And all of it revolves around change at the end of the day. And all we can do is sit back and wait. As fans, all we can do is sit back and wait. We'll go out Thursday night. I'll be in attendance at MetLife. So we'll see what happens and we'll see what product they go out there with. But I know that you say that the team's not connected, and it's not right now. But it's early, and change can occur, and with change comes better things sometimes. And this is the time to take a look at it. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, and this is how I want to end it off. Phillies, Eagles. Obviously, they're not going to see this. If anybody wants to repost this and send this to Barstool or anything, we're looking at both of you, the Eagles and Phillies, respectively. What do you have to show us as fans? What can we be excited about? Because we're coming off a game that we lost down up 3-0, and then we're coming off a game that we probably should have won. Not been happy if we would have won either way. What do you have in store for us? What is gonna make us stay invested as fans and want us to think that these teams can win championships? What do you have to show us? Honestly, I wish this could get to those two and show them what those two teams mean to the city and means to all these fans in the city as a whole. This is our life, and this is especially for me and you. This is our life. We literally talked about this earlier.
Yeah. means everything.
It is. Depending on when, especially with the Eagles during the season, it usually makes my Mondays, maybe my Tuesdays, and I'm already frustrated. I know tomorrow I'm going to be going to school, not even happy. People talk about it. It does decide people's weeks because they're so invested in it and they care about it so much, but the product on the field just doesn't seem to translate, and I'm frustrated and I'm upset, and they're doing a discernment to Philadelphia as a whole. That's how I want to end it. If you have anything else to say before we wrap this thing up.
Nah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think right now, my voice to you and the voice to people watching this, if you're panicking on the Eagles, don't don't panic on the Eagles. We're sitting fine right now. It could be worse. Like I said, it could be worse. On the other hand, with the Phillies, might be time to hit the panic button. And if you want my honest opinion, I don't have no faith. I don't have no faith in the Phillies, and tomorrow's game is major. You need to go out there and you need to take tomorrow off their hands. Um, and if that doesn't happen, I don't even think I'll watch Game 3. I'm serious. But with the Eagles, Thursday's the biggest game of the season. It really is. I'll let you know how I'm feeling, and I'll get back on here if you want to talk after Thursday's game. Maybe get something going, and we'll have a conversation. And I'll let you know how I'm thinking, because after Thursday's game, we're going to know a lot about this team. We're going to know everything that we need to know about this Eagles team after Thursday night. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think you wrapped it up perfectly. What do you have in store for us? That's all I got to say. So, but I want to thank Kenny so much for coming on. It's always appreciated, my brother. So, but
No problem.
like I said at the beginning of the video, I hope you guys enjoyed this surprise weekend content that we threw out with you guys. I hope to continue it. Hopefully it only goes up. Obviously you guys enjoyed it a lot. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate the comments that you leave and all that kind of stuff. But keep supporting. Keep giving us what you want to see, because I'm just a guy who wants what the people want. I want to be able to please the people. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want me to do, because I'll go out and do it. I'm ready. You saw what I did a few weeks ago. I freaking dumped a gallon of milk on my head because we got to 200 subscribers. Like I said, road to 300. What about road to 500? Let's do that instead.
Let's do it.
Get it to 500 subscribers. Share it to everyone. I'm trying to get this thing to you guys. I'm trying to show that I know what I'm talking about, and I want to hear what you have to say. But once again, I appreciate my guy Kenny coming on. Always a pleasure. So this is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go Birds, I guess. Go Phils. I don't even know at this point. But good night. Enjoy the rest of your night if you can. But peace, you guys. See ya.